Okay. Dr. Sam.
How are you?
Yeah, great. How are you? Dr. Sam, meet Michael Feeley. Michael Feeley, Dr. Sam.
Hello, Dr. Sam. You okay?
How are you doing, Michael? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. I'm doing well, thank you. Doing well.
Yeah, yeah. You're back to back at the moment with interviews, aren't you, Dr. Sam?
Today I had two meetings, 10 o'clock. 11 o'clock, I had TV crew from Serbia doing two episodes on Bosnian Pyramids. 3 p.m., I had a podcast with the biggest Serbian YouTube channel, 350,000 followers. And then now with you guys, and then 7 o'clock my time with the Bratislava, Slovakia. They have a big podcast there. So
Wow.
when we have weather like this with the snow, imagine snow, it's almost April. Excellent argument for the global warming. I stay busy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's the same here. My daughter said to me today, it's all we call it bipolar weather. Because one moment it's like this, it's warm and sunny, it's like t-shirt weather, and the next moment it's snowing or something, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. And also I say to my children, the sands in the sky, that's not clouds. Clouds are little white fluffy things. But the children, the teenagers, they think it's normal, don't they?
That was the plan. When this whole generation is gone, people will not remember anything. They won't remember the real food, drink, water. The normality will get another meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fully controlled, people will think, well, that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. But that's why they've got
Okay.
people like you and like us to explain to them that's not normal.
Yes. Michael,
Okay.
what do you want to do?
What do I want to do?
Where shall we start?
Yeah.
Ooh, what I want to do. You mean tonight, or just generally in life? Which is pretty much the same thing. Which is to reveal things that have been waiting for thousands of years to be revealed. That's really my life was kind of planned that way. Obviously, you don't know that until you have to know that. But there's a lot going on throughout my life to bring me to this point, to make sure that I fulfilled what I was here to do. And that's really to reveal many thousands of years of secrets. I'm a bloodline relation of Egyptian pharaohs, and Egypt and the secrets of Egypt are truly my blood. So that's what I will talk about tonight, as in pyramids. But of course, Egypt goes into so many things. The modern day, the Bible, the Kabbalah, all of these things start in Egypt. So even though I'm talking about Egypt, I'm really talking about everything. So that's what I shall do tonight, and that's what I shall do for the rest of my days here in physicality.
Mm, mm. Bravo. I'm going to start introducing both of you now. So let us begin. So I'm Sarah Jane Smith, the founder of QuantumHypno. And really, it is an honor to introduce a man, and really we're dealing with, when I say a man, I mean both men, whose work invites us to look beyond what we think we know about our past. And I'm addressing Dr. Sam at the moment as well. So this is a man who's shown immense courage and dignity. Dr. Sam Osmanagich is a researcher, author, and the discoverer of the Bosnian Pyramids in Visoko. For 21 years, he's dedicated his life to exploring ancient pyramids that challenge conventional archaeology and open up new conversations about human history. Through excavation, scientific study, and global research, he brings forward ideas about ancient intelligence, energy, and the deeper purpose behind these remarkable structures. He is the author of over 30 books and continues to speak around the world, encouraging us to question, to explore, and to remember what we may have forgotten. I'm also going to introduce now Michael Feeley. Michael is a former UK police officer and now ancient codebreaker and spiritual life coach. He has authored 7 paperback books, with others currently in writing, and several ebooks on various esoteric subjects. And he is also a public and international conference speaker and global radio contributor. He is currently adapting his work to cater to a younger audience and will soon have a series of children's books to teach our next generation, which we just talked about, Dr. Sam, many truths that they are not being taught elsewhere. Bravo. Michael has also appeared on Edge Media TV. The Moore Show has featured on Straw Man, The Nature of the Cage, an Elstree Studios independent documentary. But he's also appeared on America's largest radio show, which is Coast to Coast with George Noory, as well as on Midnight in the Desert Radio with Tim Weisberg. And he's also appeared on the Other Side of Midnight radio show with Richard C. Hoagland, the researcher who geometrically mapped out the Sidonian city on planet Mars. Welcome, gentlemen. It's an honor to have you both on the show. Let's start with Dr. Sam. So, Dr. Sam, in 2005, you were living in Houston, Texas. You flew over to the city of Visoko just to visit a museum. But something there caught your eye. Something not just about the museum, but there was something else in the background when you went there. And this was going to change your life forever. What was that you found?
Thank you, Sarah, for this nice introduction. Hello, Michael. Very happy to be in your company. You're right. Back in 2005, I did live in Houston, Texas. And for a couple of decades before that, I was researching pyramids. My PhD was about the Mayan pyramids in Central America. And this is where I learned that the majority of the pyramids are actually covered by soil and vegetation. Then I expanded research of the pyramids in Bolivia, Peru, China, Indonesia, Cambodia, and other countries. So I came to the town of Visoko to visit the local museum, but what really caught my eye was this hill, which everybody called the natural hill, because it was covered by the vegetation in the forest. But I was looking at the shape, geometry. I could see 4 sides, 4 triangular faces, 4 corners, the same slope from the bottom to the top. Compass showed me that those 4 sides perfectly matched the cardinal points, east, west, north, south. And this is how the pyramids were built, all around the planet. So that first year, 2005, when I came back, same year, I got permission to do some preliminary research, geological core drilling, archaeological trenches, lab analysis, all anomalies. I wrote the book, and October 2005, I announced the news that the first European pyramids have been discovered. And in the last 20 years, this has become the most active archaeological site in the world. I established a non-profit foundation for the archaeological scientific research, and every year, hundreds of volunteers, our workers and researchers from different scientific fields come to the heart of Bosnia, working on the most exciting archaeological project.
I was reading in your book, one of the books you wrote called Dr. Sam Osmanagich, My Story. And I was reading it last night and I was almost jumping out of my chair because it's so well written. I think people should really buy this book because it gives them a detail about how you carbon dated. You found a leaf because you've come up with the date of this pyramid, how old this pyramid is, and the tunnels. Now, you found a leaf inside the tunnels. Is that right? The walls. And you carbon dated. You're not doing this yourself. You're sending them off to Turin. You're sending them off to labs. You're sending them to Poland. They're coming back and they're saying, this is the carbon dated age of the leaf. And that's one of the ways you found out the age of the pyramid, the oldest and largest pyramid in the world so far. Yeah.
You're right. This is what we've established and concluded after 2 decades. We have a complex of at least 6 pyramids, which we named the pyramids of the Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, Love, and the 6th pyramid. two tumuli. In archaeology, tumulus is a conical artificial hill, and 7 entrances to prehistorical underground tunnels. So this is a huge project, huge discovery. And like I said, the most active archaeological site, every year, thousands and thousands of hours digging, lab analysis, and different analyses. This is a multidisciplinary scientific project. What does that mean? People think that pyramids, they are subject of the archaeology or Egyptology. Wrong. Well, they teach us about the pyramids like being tombs for the pharaohs built by thousands of slaves. These are the bedtime stories. Pyramids were built by very advanced civilizations, much deeper in the past than what we are taught in the history books. In the case of Bosnia, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, the key structure, is 368 meters in height. And this is based on a LiDAR scan. This is the most modern technique to scan the area. It is 2.5 times taller than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Orientation to the north. This is the case of the Chinese pyramids, Indonesia, Cambodia, Peru, Cahokia pyramids in the US, of course, Egyptian pyramids, Nubian pyramids in Sudan. The Great Pyramid of Egypt has an error to the perfect north of 0 degrees and 3 minutes, which is excellent. But the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun has an error of 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and 12 seconds based on the geodetic measurements from the State Institute for Geodesy. 1 meter below the soil, we are discovering artificially made concrete blocks, rectangular and square, several layers, several rows. Now, the question of date is extremely important. We know that today 3 methods have been used. The first one is radiocarbon or C14 analysis. The second one is luminescence analysis. And the third one is uranium-thorium analysis. We've been using all 3 of them. We've done 28 radiocarbon dating, 20 luminescence, and 7 uranium-thorium. This is what we concluded. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is 33,800 years old, which makes it officially the oldest pyramids on Earth. Now, the next question, of course, is the purpose of pyramids. But in archaeology, you need to answer 5 questions. Number 1, what? What is this? We have proven we have the pyramid complex in Bosnia. Second question is who? As you're going to see, very advanced ancient civilization. The third one is when, more than 3,000 years. The fourth one is how did they move, how did they make the best quality concrete? And the fifth question is why? What is the purpose, which we can discuss in a minute.
We're told in school, we're all taught to believe 34,000 years ago, they were like cavemen, right? Now, so you've proven the age. So 34,000 years ago, we're told we're here, cavemen, and then we go up like this, and this is it. We're advanced, and yet we don't know how they made that. We couldn't recreate that today. So this is challenging. This isn't just we found an old pyramid. This is challenging everything we've been taught in school. Like you said, the bedtime stories, everything. This is turning everything on its head.
Well, you are right. They teach us that during the Paleolithic times, basically it's up to 12,000 years back, there are only small bands of people living in caves. They would not have a social organization to build huge megalithic or pyramid structures. However, when you see the new discoveries, for example, back in 1995, in Ngui monuments at the bottom of the Pacific floor, the whole underground cities, actually 13 of them, were discovered using granite blocks to build those structures, temples, and so on, marketplaces. Then the Gunung Padang Pyramid, which is in West Java, our friend Dr. Danny Hillman dated it. It is 27,000 years. And then Machu Picchu, Eastern Peru. It's not one civilization, the Incas. Incas came as the last one. There are four distinctive civilizations. The first one is taking us back 54,000 years. And then you take Egyptian pyramids. Of course, they were not built 4,500 years back. They were built much earlier. I would think between 30 and 40,000 years. So, with so many anomalies, as they call them, there is a need to write the history books again. And the Bosnian Pyramid project is so important because this is the most open archaeological project in the world. And right now we have over 40 published original research articles in international scientific journals. These are peer-reviewed articles that explain the Bosnian pyramid, the sun and the moon and the tumulus, and pyramids as energy amplifiers, pyramids as energy machines, creating the scalar waves that are ideal for the communication. They explain the spiral and linear geometry, or sacred geometry as it is called. They explain the connection between the Bosnian pyramids and the stars. In other words, taking very rigorous scientific methodology published in scientific magazines, we are proving that the history is something different. So yes, you are right. There is a need to change the history books.
Mm, mm. Would you agree you've had a lot of opposition over the last 21 years? Because what from what I've read, there's opposition, there's controversy. Now, one of the people I've been reading about is Zahi Hawass. And 2006, no, he said that's pseudoscience. That isn't real. Now, I don't know whether you know, but Dr. Hawass was asked onto the Joe Rogan show, I think May the 14th, 2025. And Joe Rogan had a lot to say. I thought you might be interested in what he said. Joe Rogan says Hawass, he's a close-minded fellow who's been in charge of gatekeeping all the knowledge. And that's a direct quote from Joe Rogan about Hawass.
You are right when you said a lot of opposition. You know, when you come with the new discoveries, when you come with the new inventions, when you come with the new concepts, there is always obstacles that follow you. I mean, if you go to academia, if you go to the corporate world, media, you come as a young researcher or young employees with the ideas how to improve the process. There are so many people who want to keep the status quo. The bigger the idea, more obstacles. In our case, hey, we have the first pyramids in Europe. They are the biggest on the planet, the best quality concrete ever and measurable, the best orientation to the north ever, measurable, the most extensive underground tunnel network. So far, we have cleared 3.6 kilometers of those tunnels. And then the oldest pyramids on the planet. The beauty of what we do is that everything is measurable. And what the opposition is doing, basically they've been attacking you very aggressively, they've been insulting you, but with no scientific argument. You know, back in 2005, 2006, European Archaeological Association issued a statement that Bosnian Pyramids is a cruel hoax on the public, made by Sam Osmanagich. They never used my title, I got my PhD, I'm professor, I am member of 4 Academy of Sciences. They don't do that.
Wow.
You go to Wikipedia, where about 85 to 90% is the public information, fine, but the crucial 10 to 15% is fully controlled. And this is what really affects the public minds. And among those 10, 15% are information about the astronomy, about the history, archaeology, about the physics, stuff like that, the most important stuff. But they want to keep that fully controlled. And the Bosnian pyramid entry over there cannot be changed because we've tried that with all the scientific arguments. We've had 8 scientific conferences, 110 experts. It's impossible to change. So it seems that it's going to forever stay Bosnian Pyramid Project.
I can still see you. Now you've got a bit sideways. Oh, video's gone. I think you just need to turn. It was
Project
actually
is
fine. Yeah.
pseudo-archaeological claim by Sam Osmanagich. Now,
Oh,
claim is when you come, you issue the statement,
it's your
you
video
claim.
again. Sorry to interrupt you.
Can you see me?
No. Sorry. Yeah, perfect, Sam. Perfect. Yeah.
So Wikipedia is saying Bosnian Pyramids are pseudo-archaeological claim by Sam Osmanagich, who claimed
Yeah.
that the natural hills are artificially made pyramid structures, but teams of archaeologists and geologists, after reviewing the site, concluded that it's all natural. There are no teams of archaeologists and geologists who actually came to the site, just people who back in 2006, even before we started digging, they were saying it's a nonsense, no pyramids. In the last 2 decades, like I said, 8 scientific conferences, 110 people came. We've been doing measurements, lab analysis, dating, and of course, very supportive of what we do. But this is the power of media. What
Yeah.
media? Besides Wikipedia, it's National Geographic, it's Encyclopedia Britannica, it's Smithsonian, it's of course the news agencies like Associated Press, Reuters, because they are extending hand of the very powerful elites who rule the world, and they know those who rule the history. They write the present also. They don't want one small country, one small non-profit foundation, and one small man to change all of the history. And finally, you mentioned Dr. Zahid Hawass. He's been running Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities. Before that, he was director of the Giza. And when Mubarak fell, he was in the jail because of the corruptions. They charged him for the corruption almost $2 billion. Every visitor to the Giza Plateau had to pay him. Every movie that was recording, they had to pay him. He had to be the key actor, stuff like that. So he got a lot of money. Plus, he was selling a lot of artifacts anyway. When he heard about the Bosnian pyramids, he said, Osmanagich is hallucinating. Well, I was not the first one that got this nice description from him. But the truth is that, yes, he is one of the gatekeepers who doesn't want the truth to come on the surface. And it is very sad that we have people like him in charge of very important projects. However, Sarah, we have to know one thing also. If there are no dark forces, then the light could not be seen. So that's fine. Let them do their work. We're going to be doing ours.
Yeah, that's beautiful, isn't it? We've come here into the duality, haven't we? And without the dark, as you say quite beautifully, Sam, there wouldn't be the light. We need that, don't we? And maybe he's part of the plan as well, We don't know. I'm going to come back to you in a moment, Dr. Sam. I just want to ask Michael Feeley a few questions. Michael, we were talking earlier about your first trip to Egypt, and you were talking about the mystical message that you received just a few days before you arrived. What was that message?
Well, again, when I decided that I wanted to go to Egypt, it was a vacation, but you just had that gut feeling that there was more to it than just a vacation. That there was a reason to go there. And literally 10 days before I boarded the plane, I had a strange email from a psychic medium from Scotland who I didn't know, never met, didn't know me. And the email, and I have the email here verbatim, she just says, regarding your trip to Egypt, you need to look past the tourism, learn about her, understand her, and then teach about her. A messenger will find you. It will help uncover more insights and translate ancient knowledge brought to us from great distance. Under the Sphinx lies an ancient secret knowledge that will be added to your toolbox. Use this wisely for the benefit of all. All meaning past, present, and future. It all belongs together in the same place. You must absorb, accept, understand, and finally know. only then can you share and teach. So that was quite a strange message to have from a stranger 10 days before you go on this holiday to Egypt, which has a deep significance. And then all things, there's other things it said as well about you need to get as close to the right-hand side of the Sphinx as you possibly can. Miraculous. Wow. That's exactly what happened. Because for anyone who's been to the tourist part of Egypt, you are kettled up this very narrow concrete slope.
Yes.
And wherever the crowd goes is where you go.
Yeah.
And just as we get to the top and I look to the right, there's a Sphinx, the right-hand side of the Sphinx. Now, there's two of us, and just as we get to the top, two people move, we slot in, and that's the closest you can get to the right-hand side of the Sphinx. Wow. So all of these things were kind of planned, and I was kind of picking up on that in relation to there's more to this than just a vacation, but I'll go with it. And that was kind of a strange mystical message that was perfect in terms of what happened at the time and what has happened since.
Yeah. And it's very detailed as well. It couldn't be more detailed and accurate.
No. No. Well, again, it just makes, she originally said it was a message from her spiritual council. So, it came through her to me. And she emailed me out of the blue, not knowing who I was, etc., etc. So it was one of those messages that came from high through an email system, through Hotmail to me before I went to Egypt. And it was extremely, extremely relevant for that part of my life and subsequent.
Wow. And Edgar Casey wrote about the Sphinx as well. He talked about there was, he said like quite a long time ago that they would find, was it under the left paw of the Sphinx or something? Just you remind me, Edgar Casey said they're going to find books about humanity or, and that's actually happening now, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, that's also in they're finding a lot of cavities, what they believe to be cavities at the moment. They're not cavities, they're rooms, they're libraries.
Yeah.
And when they're following their radar to a cavity, they're finding that there's a wall. But that's not a wall, that's a door. And that door is voice activated. And when you actually open the door, there is the history of humanity inside these rooms. The same as the secret entrances to the Great Pyramid that you have to open by voice activation.
So the codes are in the voice?
Well, the codes, I have certain codes to open them. I have certain words that you need to open certain doors inside the Great Pyramid. But when you have a third eye vocal alignment, then with certain words at certain times, because it's mathematical as well, the doors slide open. So this is true of the outside of the pyramid, but also all of these cavities that are found inside the Great Pyramid, which are actually rooms that contain the library and also not only the history of humanity, but also artifacts from other worlds. And there's artifacts from other worlds that are written on metals that are not from Earth. And they speak about the 7 entrance and exit points of planet Earth. And I found portals, and I have the physics to prove it, that go straight the way through the Earth. So the Great Pyramid, I've pre-prepared boards to go through what the Great Pyramid really is. But it's basically, in essence, the Great Pyramid is a radio antenna, and so are all the other pyramids of the world.
Yeah.
And I work closely with Leonardo da Vinci because in a past life I was his scroll, and that was me.
Wow.
Now, Leonardo da Vinci tells me, now this is in relation to all of the pyramids, he says there were measurements made showing the pyramid, this is the Great Pyramid, had the circumference of the Earth, the depth of the Earth's core, and distance and alignment to the stars. He says the pyramids are antennas to other worlds and to visitors. There are huge stones, which Dr. Sam just mentioned, there are huge stones in the low base chambers, and we would see them as batteries. The stones that Dr. Sam mentions and the stones in the Great Pyramid are batteries. And for anybody that wants to understand the phenomena of the Baghdad batteries of the Egyptian temples, it is a battery that powers the antenna, the radio. And he says the capstone, which again is what I've got on my boards, the capstone is receiving and sending signals. The inner upper and lower chambers in the pyramid, and is referring to the Grand Gallery, are revealed by electromagnetic sweep. Now, how did somebody from the Middle Ages know about electromagnetic sweep? What people don't realise is that Leonardo da Vinci, in one of those rooms that I've mentioned, and I'll keep it secret as to which one, Leonardo da Vinci has actually done an original painting, which is inside the Great Pyramid. But I will leave science to find it.
Oh, and Dr. Sam, you would agree with that because you said you found a 28 hertz scalar wave you measured on top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. And then you were saying from memory, because I do listen sometimes at your talks, that it was following the sun. It was moving this way, following the sun, and then moving over that way as well. Is that correct? It was a scalar wave coming out 4.5 meters and then coming in. And you're saying the same thing, really, aren't you?
We have had 5 independent international teams from Croatia, Serbia, Finland, Italy, and Germany who came at 5 different times with their own equipment. Scientific equipment, they used oscilloscope, spectrometer, EMF. On the very top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, they have measured the existence of the energy beam, which is 28 kilohertz in frequency. It is electrical in nature and ultrasound in nature. It starts at the 4.5 meter diameter. It expands to 20 meter, 4.5, 20, 4.5. And then when we measure the strength of the signal using drone on different heights, we realize that the energy beam is getting stronger as it moves away from the pyramid. Now, in science, this phenomenon is called scalar field, which are non-Hertzian waves, or simply Tesla's energies.
Yeah.
And indeed, our genius mind of Nikola Tesla was investigating those subtle energies 120 years ago, concluding that they move quicker than the speed of light. In the last 50 years, the Russian physicists came to the same conclusion. So it seems to us that the first potential purpose of pyramids and pyramid energy is to be the communication device. Of course, the pyramids transmit the energy, but at the same time, they act as the antenna. So they are not only the transmitters, but they receive the energy, they receive information. So the energy flow is going both ways.
Yeah.
And finally, about the direction that you mentioned, yes, we did measurements in the morning, and this energy beam is moved a little bit to the east, where we have sunrise, noontime is south, afternoon southwest, evening west. Basically, this energy beam follows the path of our sun. So it is great possibility that our planet and the sun communicates. Technically, it's possible that the sun is used as the cosmic gate, so we can communicate with other solar systems, and then energy beam going both ways. We are establishing a network, a cosmic internet, arguably. So it's very exciting, and this is the reason why I'm saying that our project in Bosnia actually is not an archaeological project. 10% maybe, but the rest of it, it's about the engineering minds and the physics. You know, Tesla said that you want to find out the secrets of the universe, you need to view it through the energy frequencies and the vibrations. And this is what our project is about. It's about the energy, because the pyramids are energy amplifiers. They amplify original, natural sources of energy, creating very specific frequencies that are measurable. In our case, 28 kilohertz, 7.83 hertz, and so on. And this frequency affects our vibrations, us as humans in a very beneficial way, but also the water, food, improving the molecular structure of both, immunity, protection of the atmosphere, development of spiritual senses. So in other words, the pyramids are multifunctional energy machines. And we are the first one in the world who actually have proven that. Now, of course, in the last few decades, we could read some of the books about the pyramid power or Chris Dunn, Giza power plants. Unfortunately, they were not able to access the pyramids and do the measurements. And unlike them, we run the project. We invite the teams of international experts, mostly physicists, quantum, nuclear, and engineers, electrical, sound, telecommunication, medical doctors, people with the instruments to come and measure. And this is what we have proven, and this is very exciting. And it means that we are done with the claims that pyramids are tombs for one dead body. They do not belong to the past. On the contrary, we are bringing the revolutionary change of the narrative. Pyramids were built as energy machines to serve communities. So they belong to the present and the future.
That's a brilliant answer, and you've answered one of my questions I was going to ask you. Michael, I could see you writing on your whiteboard there.
Yeah, it's basically
Yes.
everything that's just been said.
Let's have a look.
The scientists have found lots and lots of plasma clouds above the Giza Plateau in recent weeks. Those plasma clouds are radio transmissions. Now, the longest that a plasma cloud has ever been recorded as being in life and existence is 12 hours. So if they're finding plasma clouds above the Giza Plateau, within the last 12 hours, there's been a transmission. What is happening, before I go to the boards, there's been all of these structures found under the Great Pyramid. They are mechanical stress systems. Mechanical stress systems create piezoelectricity. That piezoelectricity is being transduced into radio waves by the Great Pyramid. I have chemical formulas that tell me that the limestone casing of the Great Pyramid stores voltage. And this voltage, this electricity, is being transduced into radio waves. So the beams that we are seeing from the apex of pyramids is a radio transmission, which is electromagnetic. Now, in terms of the Great Pyramid, it is not only going upwards, bounced off the Earth's ionosphere, and then going, following the curve of Earth, and being picked up by other antennas, which are your other sacred sites around the world. Stonehenge, for instance, is a circular antenna, and I have heard it. So the Great Pyramid is not only speaking to the ionosphere, it is speaking to God, because the Great Pyramid is the Ark of the Covenant. It is an electrical transmitter to God and back. So it beams, hits the Earth's ionosphere, speaks to other triangulated sacred sites, because radio waves find each other through triangulation. That is why you have all of these ancient sites that are either triangles or they are triangulated. In other words, Stonehenge and Avebury form two parts of a triangle, because that's how radio waves are finding each other, and they are being picked up by other ancient sites, which are antennas. But they're also transmitting into the ground, because they're also finding underground cities underneath the Giza Plateau. It's almost like a periscope into this world. So if you imagine the journey into sound, and all of these secrets are in the everyday language of the world. Today, I was watching a football match. Okay, now,
yeah,
how many thousands of people were in that stadium, and how many millions of people watching on TV are failing to see what I'm about to talk about now? So we have a football pitch, and the pitch is sound. Now we have the center circle with the dot in the middle, which in cymatics is the word Om. Okay, now the word Om creates the tetrahedron. So the pyramids are created by sound, the sound of the universe. So it is a journey into sound. Don't worry if you can't read this, because I shall read it for you.
Thank you.
So the first thing I did is I looked at the Egyptian emerald tablet, because that is the green force that gives us 528 hertz. I separated it by a technique called digital summation. I separated the 5, the 2, and the 8. And what I did, 5 divided by 2 divided by 8 is 0.3125, which is expressed as a fraction 1 over 4, 1 over 16. I then looked at the fractions of the Egyptian Eye of Horus, which I'll come back to in a moment. But 1/4 is the eye, and 1/16 is the ear. So there's a secret message in the emerald tablets. Those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear will understand the hidden wisdoms. So the universe. Universe means one verse. A verse is a metrical rhythm. It is sound. So we only have one dimension in the whole of the universe, and that is the dimension of vibration. But that vibration splits up into multi-dimensions. So basically, it is all layered by different frequency. And that is how you have multiple dimensions able to exist in the one dimension of vibration, because they're all in separate frequencies. Okay. Now, this is why we have multidimensionality. It's different frequencies in the same place. When I looked at cymatics, and for your viewers, cymatics is they put sand on a plate and they introduce different sounds. And when they introduce a different sound, it forms a different geometric shape based on that sound. That is what hieroglyphs are too, because the universe is sound. So, but I noticed that when they switch the sound off, the shape collapses. So that then got me thinking, everything in this universe is shape, shape in motion, or shape that is still. Shape that is still is geometry. Shape in motion is what we see in the world. But in order for that shape to be maintained, there has to be a continuous sound. Otherwise, that shape would collapse, just like you see in cymatics. Now, that sound is Om, O-M, which the Hindus say is the vibration that created the world. But it is the constant sound. Now, when you have the likes of Pythagoras talking about the music of the spheres, in advancement of that, I found that it is actually the music that maintains the spheres, because there has to be a continuous sound to maintain the shape.
Yeah.
Now, I call that in Latin sonus ponere sphera, the sound that maintains the shape. So going back then to omega, alpha and omega, the beginning and the end. But alpha is the throat and omega is the lips. So alpha and omega is the beginning and the end of a sentence. Now, the beginning and the end of a sentence is in the beginning was the word.
The
that
logo,
word
yeah.
is the constant universal sound that maintains the shapes of the universe. And that is Om, which goes back to the center of my football field. Okay, so going back to the Egyptian eye, all of these eye fractions I've found correlate to different musical notes. So we have the half beat, the quarter note, the eighth note, the semiquaver, the demi-semiquaver, and the hemi-demi-semiquaver, which gives you a rhythmic cascade. In other words, a sound like a waterfall, notes cascading downwards. This replicates then, the Egyptian eye replicates the cosmic waters, the cosmic womb, which is your Isis, which is your Binah, which is your Great Sea, which is your Mother Mary of the Bible. So the Egyptian eye contains and encrypts musical notes. That is a cascading sound that is coming down. So the Giza Plateau sits upon an 8x8 grid, which is 64, which is your hemi-demi-semiquaver, 1/64. It is also in the 3-3-3 system, which is 64 notes of 9 octaves. It is a musical-based system. So we are told then, or Egypt is called the eye of the world, which is the pupil. The pupil of the eye is the Blacklands, Kem, Egypt. Now that relates to the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati, which is telling you that Egypt is the eye of the world. When you look down at the Great Pyramid, it is Osiris risen, the X, which is the risen eye, the all-seeing eye. Egypt is the eye of the world. Now the pupil then is the identity of Osiris, Isis. John the Baptist, because the Bible tells us that John the Baptist is witness to the light, which is the light that goes into the pupil of the eye. So we have Isis, John the Baptist, Osiris, Christ, and Mary Magdalene, all within the eye, and the Vesica Piscis of geometry. Inside the Vesica Piscis of geometry, we have the Christian fish. The Vesica Piscis as a unit left to right is 153. That is the 153 fish caught by Christ. Now, Mary Magdalene has a numerical value of 153. So the Vesica Piscis of geometry that contains not only the Christian fish, but the Egyptian eye, is Christ, Mary Magdalene, John the Baptist, Osiris, and Isis, Egypt being the eye of the world. Now, when we add 153 and 265, which is the unit numbers of the Vesica Piscis, we get 418, which is Abra Hadabra, which is a word that is used at the conclusion of the great work of alchemy, the Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone, the cornerstone, is Jesus. Now, the name Christ is mathematically encrypted within the Great Pyramid. So, Abrahadabra gives us Abra, which is Abraham, because the Giza Plateau is the original Bible. So we now have the Abrahamic religions contained within the Vesica Piscis, contained within the Eye of Egypt. This is the Ark of the Covenant. So the Great Pyramid then is, as I've said, a radio antenna. Now within the Great Pyramid, we also have true pi, corrected pi. Scientists now are using pi as 3.141. That is incorrect. The Great Pyramid tells you that that is incorrect. If you use the base 4 with the square root of phi, which also relates to the base to the center of the pyramid mathematical measurements, 4 divided by 1.272 gives you 1.344. That is true pi. That is correct pi. Now, pi is necessary because it quantifies, controls the speed and wavelength and frequency of radio waves. The Great Pyramid is a radio. Now, ironically, when I times pi, true pi, 3 times 144, which is the first 4 numbers, I got which then takes me straight the way back to the top, which is the sound that created the pyramids, which is written within true pi, which is written within the Great Pyramid. Now, the shafts of the Great Pyramid are waveguides. They are directing the radio signals. Now, the pyramid shape is a triangular sound wave, and the Great Pyramid shape modulates the sound wave. That is why we have the shape of the pyramid as a sound wave. Because I've also worked out, by advancing upon Newton's theory of motion, that gravity is actually sound. And the Great Pyramid is a sound, which is a triangular sound. Now, when we get the triangle and we flip it 180 degrees, we get polarity reversal. When we put those two shapes together, we get the Star of David. So the Star of David is polarity reversal. It's talking about electromagnetism and space travel and how to reverse gravity to 0 point. Now, all the ancient sites of it, as I've said, are triangulated. Now, when a sound wave strikes a perfect vacuum, 0 point, the Great Pyramid being the center of the Earth, it flips its polarity into anti-gravity. Now, when you get anti-gravity, you get a point within a circle, Now, when you look at Earth, Earth creates an electromagnetic torus. In between that torus is 0 point, dimensionless and timeless. This is the visitors that Leonardo was talking about. They are coming straight the way through 0 point of Earth's torus field.
Wow.
Now, this 0 point is a timeless trajectory through space. So I'm nearly done. Now, biblically, when we look at Genesis, the beginning. And when we look at the book of Moses, Moses means from 6, which is the start of David, the hexagram. But Adam is earth. Eve is the atmosphere. So Adam and Eve are Earth's atmosphere, which is an electromagnetic field. It is a torus field. Now, Earth's torus field creates the shape of an apple. Eden is Earth. So the apple of Eden is Earth's torus field, its electromagnetic field.
Wow.
Which is the Big Apple, which is New York. Now,
No.
the people on this path, because there's so few of them, they walk the narrow path. The people who don't know this walk the Broadway. Now, what is one of the most famous streets in New York? Broadway.
Broadway, yeah.
So it is talking about this knowledge. So we have electricity then, and if you want to access this knowledge, we have to bite the apple, which is the Apple Corporation and Eden. So we have electricity then, which is the sun. The sun is actually an electrical generator, not what we're told.
Wow.
So electricity is the male principle of the universe. We then have magnetism, which is the female principle of the universe. Now, when you get electricity and you reduce it to one step down, which is 2 half beats, electricity then creates magnetism. So magnetism is created by electricity. The female is created by the male. Eve is created from Adam. It is electromagnetism.
Wow.
So that is, and finally, when you get the likes of cigar-shaped and disc-shaped UFOs, which I've seen multiple times, their shape creates electrical imbalance. That imbalance gives you propellantless propulsion, which is really thrust without fuel. It is free space travel.
Wow.
Nikola Tesla alluded to this, but a lot of Nikola Tesla's knowledge was given to him by Leonardo da Vinci. And people don't know that either.
Wow.
Tesla used to say that he used to get lots and lots of quantum equations in his head in a dream state. It was Leonardo da Vinci that was giving them to him. So then we have in UFO travel, in the Great Pyramid, in the sites of the world, electric to sound, sound to electric systems, which are propellantless propulsion. Now, the Sumerian scrolls, the Anunnaki scrolls, tell us this. For anybody who's ever seen the Sumerian scroll, where you have the giant sitting on the stool, you have 2 men opposite each other below, you have this big wheel that's being controlled by somebody, and you have 3 little men and a table. For anybody that's seen that picture, that is talking about space travel through these portals, creating this reverse polarity. And it is this reverse polarity that is giving them this 3-dimensionless, timeless travel. The Great Pyramid then is transducing electricity, which is being stored in the line casing, which had its battery as these large stones at the base, and it is transducing electricity into radio waves. It is transmitting, it is receiving, it is transmitting to God, the universe, to the other sites of the world, and to the other monuments on the planets of the solar system. But it is also communicating downwards. And if you want to enter all of these cavities and all of these rooms, and you want to get into the Great Pyramid from the south-facing side at the top, then there are voice-activated doors that slide open. These cavities are rooms, and those walls are not walls, they are doors. So the Great Pyramid is an antenna, and it is a radio.
Wow. We need to get you back on the show because we're running out of time. And where can people find you, Michael? And then we'll go to Dr. Sam before we finish.
The best place is my website, which is michael-feeley.com. And from there, you can go anywhere.
Yeah. Dr. Sam, I just want to tell people there are direct flights for every Tuesday and Saturday from Luton to Sarajevo. So Sarajevo is the capital and Visoko is 25 minutes drive away. Should people go to bosnianpyramidhealing.com? Is that the website you'd like people to look at?
That's one of very good sites, yes. The bosnianpyramidhealing.com is one site. Yeah. Now, my new book
Yes.
which is the chronology of the discovery and especially the Fibonacci link between the Bosnian Pyramids and the Pleiades star cluster can be found at the pleiadescode.com, the pleiadescode.com. So those two websites will be a good starting point. So it's very simple to come to Bosnia, very peaceful and the most beautiful country. So, from the Luton, London to Sarajevo,
Stansted as well. Yeah.
go hours, Stansted, so, or, via Vienna or any other, major city in Europe. And people would love it. People will enjoy it like thousands and thousands of others every year.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic. So thank you, Dr. Sam Osmanagich. We've run out of time. Maybe you'll come on the show again because what I'd really like to talk to you about is the Fibonacci sequence that you found, the Fibonacci spiral. So maybe it's another show, isn't it? And also, thank you so much to Mr. Michael Feeley. And
Thank you.
I hope
Nice
to
to
see you on the
you.
show again.
No,
Yeah, it was really a pleasure. And Michael, I must say, great job.
Yeah.
Thank you for elaborating that.
Yeah, it was amazing. So thank you both. And Dr. Sam, I know you have another interview now, so thank you so much. I really appreciate. Thank you so much, Dr. Sam Osmanagich and Mr. Michael Feely. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Take care.
Well,
Take care.
bye-bye.
Bye.
You
Bye.
too.